دكتورة سحر خميس المتحدثة التالي أستاذ مساعد في قسم الإعلام في جامعة ميريلاند كلية بارك، خبيرة في وسائل الإعلام العربية والإسلامية، والرئيس السابق لقسم الإعلام والتكنولوجيا المعلومات في جامعة قطر. الدكتور خميس حاصلة على درجة الدكتوراه في وسائل الإعلام والدراسات الثقافية من جامعة مانشستر في إنجلترا. شاركت في تأليف الكتب التالية: الإسلام.com، الخطابات الإسلامية المعاصرة في الفضاء الإلكتروني، الثورة المصرية، التدوين السياسي، وأعداد أخرى من الكتب والمؤلفات. كانت سفيرة للسلام ومعلقة ومحللة بوسائل الإعلام ومفوضة لحقوق الإنسان في لجنة حقوق الإنسان في مقاطعة مونتغومري بولاية ميريلاند. دكتورة خميس ناشطة للتواصل بين الأديان، وتقدم برنامج جسور على راديو صوت العرب من أمريكا، وهي في ضيافتنا اليوم، وإن كانت صاحبة مكان تتفضل لإلقاء الكلمة. تحية لو سمحتوا.
It's an honor and a pleasure to be with all of you this evening in the 11th anniversary of US Arab Radio. Yes! It is indeed a big achievement for Layla Al-Husseini and her distinguished team of broadcasters, anchormen and women, young correspondents from all over the world, from all over the Arab world and many parts of the world as a whole, to take part in this great initiative. For the first time, we have an ethnic radio station that represents the voices of the Arab American community with all its richness, vigor, diversity, and all the great things it has to offer. For me personally, it has been a very enriching experience. This is my third year. I cannot believe it's already 3 years since I actually started with Layla Al-Husseini and her excellent team in US Arab Radio. It's my third year with US Arab Radio, and it has been a great experience on every level, intellectually, personally, professionally, very enriching. We are indeed living in very, very troubling and very challenging times. Just a moment ago, Al Cole invited me kindly to come over and to speak about my experience that just took place about a month ago. And that experience is just one among many. Unfortunately, it is not an anomaly. It is not something that just happened once to one single woman. These kinds of incidents of hatred, of Islamophobia, of intimidation have been growing tremendously. And there are many reasons for that. Media misrepresentation, stereotyping of Arabs and Muslims as terrorists, as fanatics, as extremists, has been flooding the media day in and day out. 96% of the incidents of terror that have been committed on US soil have committed by people who have no connection whatsoever with Arab or Muslim culture. Yet, whenever there is an incident of that sort that's taking place, there is always the identity of the person being profiled in the media and blown out of proportion if he or she indeed has any kind of connection to the Arab world or to the Muslim world. That in and of itself is a very dangerous thing to happen. Very dangerous and has to be stopped. But it's not going to be stopped on its own. We have to work collectively. We have to work together, hand in hand, in order to make sure we have a different alternative discourse, a different type of rhetoric, a different type of story, and a different type of narrative. Briefly, if we do not tell our story in our own words, someone else is going to tell the story for us, and he or she is not going to be telling it right. If we don't define who we are, someone else is going to define us, and he or she is not going to define us the right way. If we do not have our own narrative and our own counter-narrative, it's going to be a dangerous world where other people are disturbing the public opinion and just spreading rumors and spreading hatred and profiling and stereotyping of Arabs and Muslims day in and day out. And they're going to be telling narratives in their own words, not in our words. That's why it's extremely important to have ethnic media, to have indigenous authentic media like US Arab Radio representing the multiple voices of the Arab American community. And when I say multiple voices, I mean diversity. We are not all Muslims. There are Muslims, Christians, Kaldanis, Orthodox, there are Copts, there are many different Shiites, Sunnis. We are a very eclectic, yet a very strong and very powerful community that has a lot to offer. We are in need of two types of dialogue. intra-dialogue and inter-dialogue. And by that I mean dialogue between the different groups of Arabs and different groups of Muslims internally, to get to know your neighbor, to get to know members of your own community. This is called intra-dialogue, between ourselves, Sunnis and Shiites, Muslims and Christians, those who come from the Levant and those who come from the Maghreb, those who come from North Africa, those who come from Asia. We have to connect among ourselves. At the same time, we cannot just keep ourselves locked inside a small bubble or inside a cocoon. We have to break out of this cocoon and break out of this bubble and spread our wings and reach out to others outside of our community. And this is called inter-dialogue. And by that I mean reaching out to members of other communities, other faith traditions, other ethnic groups, Latinos, African Americans, people from different ethnicities and different backgrounds, and this is called inter-dialogue. So the need for intra-dialogue and inter-dialogue are both very important. We cannot afford to keep talking to ourselves and just telling our stories among ourselves alone. The wider public has to hear it, and that's why the role of broadcasters like Al Cole is very important, and I hope that you will take this narrative and this story to a much wider American audience who is hungry to hear the stories of Arab American and Muslim American communities. Let me focus in the remaining minutes on US Arab Radio and what it has to offer and how it has grown over the last few years. There has been a very, very important growth in this important initiative. We now have the experience called correspondence around the world, مراسلون حول العالم. This has been a very, very important initiative because it simply means that we are recruiting young men and women who have new blood, new vision, new perspectives from different parts of the Arab world and from the world at large. Some of these young people have already shared their stories with us this evening, and they told their narratives, and I think it's very important to reach out to more and more young people and get them on board with this important initiative. I believe in something which is called the Golden Triangle, which has three important dimensions. One dimension is youth mobilization, and one is called grassroots activism, and one is called investing in the deployment of social media and new media. I believe in bottom-up grassroots activism. I believe in the power of young people. Youth are very important because they are the future, and of course the power of social media and new media. If we invest in this golden triangle with its important three dimensions, we will be able to create a huge impact moving forward. I think this is where we need to go, and I think this is where Layla Al-Husseini and her distinctive team of US Arab Radio, which I'm very, very proud to be part of, this is where we are heading. Thank you so much.